Today I'll be showing you a high protein comfort food, so stick around. Hi, Debbie Chu here from Chew on Vegan. Welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, I'm a plant-based RN and I follow a whole food plant-based diet with a focus on protein. I'm focusing on protein because I am 68 years old and I'm trying to retain and build muscle as I age. This is very important for your total health and longevity. So the recipe for today is going to be a very hearty soup. It's very similar to the soup that some of you may have had at Olive Garden, the zuppa toscano soup, which has sausage and beans and a bunch of veggies, and this is going to be my version. I didn't want to use any fake meats. I don't like that they have a lot of fillers, plus they're not gluten-free, and I have to be gluten-free because I do have celiac. So I'm going to be using some textured vegetable protein, which is basically just soy, and I will be flavoring it up with some spices, fennel, things like that, to give it that sausagey kind of flavor. And then of course tons of veggies, and it's going to be just creamy, thick, and delicious. But before we start, I'd like to recommend that you check out everything in my description box. The full recipe will be down there, and also all the services that I offer. I do have a cookbook with over 63 recipes in there. Most of them are high protein, and I do have an online course. If you are new to this way of eating, it is a way to help you transition into this way of eating, a lot of tips and tricks. And then I have a Facebook group that I would love for you to join. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to rehydrate our TVP. We'll be using TVP, which is textured vegetable protein. It's just soy. And this is what we're going to use to make our sausage-like meat. A lot of the mock meats have gluten in them, and I can't have gluten. And they also have a lot of fillers and things I really don't want. And this is going to give us that same kind of feeling. So I've just got 1 cup of TVP, and a quarter cup of TVP has 12 grams of protein and 80 calories. So it's a really good protein to calorie ratio. And we're just going to add a cup of warm water to that. And we're just going to let this sit for a few minutes till it gets rehydrated. So I've got my big soup pot here heating up on medium heat, and we're going to put the TVP in there. If there's a little bit of water, it's okay because it will cook off. So we're just going to add this to the pot. And as you can see, it plumps up to a lot once it's hydrated. Now we're going to season it up. And let's see if I can remember everything that's in here. We have garlic salt, onion powder, smoked paprika, oregano, fennel, and nutmeg. And these are just the spices I choose to use. You can use whatever you want. Then we're just going to saute this, just cook it for a few minutes, get all the flavors to come together. And you're going to taste it, of course. You want to make sure that everything tastes right to your liking and add what you need. And then we also want to add a lot of black pepper. All right, we're just going to cook this for a few minutes, and then I'm going to set it aside, and then we'll get going on the rest of the soup. So using the same pot, I got about a quarter cup of water in there, and then I'm just going to add my veggies. I've got some celery, some carrots, and I had purple carrots. You don't have to use purple carrots, but use what you have. And then some onion. And we're going to let this cook for about 6-7 minutes till all the veggies are softened. So I'm just going to cover this and let it cook on medium heat, and then I'll check it every couple of minutes and give it a stir. So this was all looking good. I turned the heat down just a little bit under medium heat. And then here's our spices. I have garlic powder, onion powder, thyme, oregano. I've got some crushed red pepper. We're going to hold off on the salt for now. We'll salt at the end if we think we need it. So all those all go in. And we'll give these a stir. Just let this cook for another minute or two. Just make sure all the spices are distributed in there. Then we're going to want this to have a nice thick consistency. So I'm going to add some flour. This is just some all-purpose gluten-free flour. You can use whatever flour you would like. It doesn't matter. Just if you don't have a problem with wheat, then use wheat flour. We just want to cook it for a couple minutes to get everything coated and then get rid of that raw flour taste. Now we're going to add about 2 cups of soy milk. And I'm back up to medium heat now. And you just want to scrape all those bits off the bottom, and we want this to come up to a nice little simmer. And I forgot to add my minced garlic with my spices, but it doesn't matter. So we'll just get that stirred in there real quick. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid smoke. Just want it to be a little smoky. And then I've got a can of white beans. And I've got about 2 cups of diced potatoes. And I'm going to add some water. I added about 4 cups of water. I want the potatoes to be able to cook So now we're going to bring this up to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer for 20 to 30 minutes till the potatoes are soft, fork tender. And at the very end, we're going to add the kale and the TVP back in. I've got 1 veggie low sodium bouillon, and then I've got a not chicken bouillon that I'm going to add in as well. This is why I'm not salting it until after everything's done. I want to see how it tastes. So once this comes to a boil and I let it simmer for 20-30 minutes, I'm going to make sure I come in and stir it every once in a while. And that's it. All right, now for the final move here, we're going to add in our TVP, our pretend ground sausage, I've got some kale, some lemon juice. We're going to let this cook for another 5 minutes. We want that kale to wilt down. And we're also going to add some nutritional yeast. These are all things you can add to your meals to bump up the protein. Nutritional yeast, TVP, tofu. All right, let's let this go for 5 more minutes on low, and then we will serve it up and give it a taste. All right, here we go, finished product, and as you can see, it's very hearty, and let's give this a taste. So good. I love the TVP in there. It's got a little bit of heat, not too much. This recipe serves about 6, and each portion is about 360 grams, which is give or take like a cup and a half, maybe a little bit more. And for that serving, it's 420 calories. Protein is almost 36 grams, it's 35.8. We've got 6 grams of fat, 61 grams of carbs, and 22 grams of fiber, which I think is amazing. It's very filling. And even though it's like 70 degrees here today, I still love soup no matter the weather. And I know a lot of you are still having those cold fronts and the snow, and so I think you'll appreciate this recipe. If you like this recipe, if you learned something, please give it a like and share it with your friends. If you could help support the channel by subscribing, I would really appreciate it. And please check out the description box for the full recipe. And if you've made it this far in the video, then comment below with Toscano. And that way I know you made it to the end with me, and I really appreciate it. Remember, all my recipes are good for you, they're good for the animals, and they're good for the planet. And what you put on your plate determines your fate. Until next time, thank you.